move on to the main event, why we're here. Like I said before, it is an honor. It is a pleasure to introduce to you for the last and final time. And I'm going to speak in Spanish several times during the press conference. But for the last and final time, we are witnessing a gentleman who has transcended the sport of boxing. And I cannot, I mean, words really can't describe on how I feel about Bernard Hopkins, not only for what he's accomplished inside the ring, but what he's accomplished outside the ring. So this fight was relatively easy to make, because when you have two top caliber fighters, either side doesn't hesitate to make a good fight happen. So it is my pleasure to introduce to you the president and CEO of Star Boxing, who represents Joe Smith Jr., and he is my good friend, Joe DeGuardia. Joe.
Thank you, Oscar. It's certainly a pleasure to be here in California, LA Forum, where so much history has taken place in this sport. I want to thank Oscar, thank Golden Boy Promotions, and Oscar's right. This fight was relatively easy to make, and that's a testament to Bernard Hopkins. You know, most people would shy away from a puncher like Joe Smith in their last fight. But I actually knew Bernard was going to do it, because he's like a fly attracted to that fire, or whatever it might be. And but it's an honor, and I thank Bernard for taking this, and Oscar. Pleased to be on HBO, great network of boxing, and it's going to be a spectacular night on December 17th. You know, Bernard is the kind of guy that you look at and say, 4 decades he's been in the sport, the 80s, the 90s, I mean, 4 decades. It's really something special. And I look sometimes, I point at Bernard and tell my kids, look at the kind of shape, because they tell me I'm out of shape now. So I say, you know, listen, 52 is not that bad. You can still be in shape. But Bernard was fighting in the 80s. I was boxing in the 80s. I don't see myself getting back into that ring now. So it's really something special. But he really picked probably too dangerous of an opponent. And as much as I talk to my kids about the discipline about Bernard, I also respect and honor Joe Smith. He's the quintessential guy that America could look at. He's the guy that's out there every morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, out there with that sledgehammer, the jackhammer. He's a laborer. He still works. Okay? Up until the time when I called him to tell him that he's going to fight Bernard Hopkins, he's a union laborer and was working. That day he actually told his boss, I'm going to go home and run, because I got the Bernard Hopkins fight. But it's something when you have two guys that you can really respect. Bernard, for all he's done in this sport, the discipline he's shown as a man inside and outside the ring, and Joe Hopkins, who is the quintessential American. Really. I mean, Joe Hopkins. How you like that? So, sounds good. You like that? That's because I anticipate that he's going to be taking the page from your book, and for the next 3 decades, I'm going to have him on top of the world. But truthfully, it's really an honor. Joe Smith is a really true working man, and a lot of the people really look at that, and it resonates with the people. He's who people can look towards and say, wow, Look at this guy, gets up every morning, works like I get up every morning, like America actually does. We all get up and we work and do our jobs every single morning. And that's what Joe really embodies. And when he fought from Pharaoh and went to Chicago in June and fought on national television, nobody gave him a shot. They looked at him, look, he's a worker, he's a laborer, he's strong, but nobody gave him a shot against Von Pharaoh. He was a 15-1 underdog, a 20-1 underdog, you know, and he went into Chicago and shocked the world, really the boxing world. Shocked Von Pharaoh, that was his hometown in Chicago, and scored a sensational first-round knockout. That was, and Oscar was talking about his knockout power, his 18th knockout in 22 wins. It was his 16th win in a row. He's 22-1, and 7th out of 8 knockouts in his last 8 fights. He really works hard. All right, we're expecting an awful lot on December 17th. He's been working very hard. Jerry Capobianco is his trainer, Phil Capobianco. They work with him in the union and also in the boxing ring. But he's really applied his craft. He's really learned his craft. He can really punch. In the fight in June, he won the WBC international title, and we're very proud that he'll be walking into the ring with that title. And Bernard really has picked a true challenge here. And, you know, I love you. You've been historic for boxing, but this time, you're biting off a little more than you can chew.
I thought his record was the other way around.
But anyway, at this point in time, I'd like to introduce the number 2 rated WBC light heavyweight in the world. He is the WBC international champion. He has really mobilized an entire laborers union around him. We're getting calls already from the local unions out here in Los Angeles that want to see Joe Smith fight. He's a real working hard individual outside the ring, a real man outside the ring, and a real puncher inside the ring. Joe Smith.
Well, I'd like to start off with thanking HBO, Golden Boy Promotions, and Bernard Hopkins here for choosing me for this opportunity for his last fight. And I also like to thank most of all my trainer, Jerry Capobianco. Without him, I wouldn't be here today. You know, December 17th, I'm so glad that I was chosen for this opportunity to fight Bernard on his way out. You know, like everyone's been saying, I'm a hard puncher, I'm a hard worker, and I'm going to train super hard, harder than I ever have for this fight. I'm going to take full advantage of it, and I'm looking forward to putting on a great show for you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joe and Joe. We greatly appreciate the challenge, and we greatly appreciate the talent and everything you've done. So boxing is obviously in debt with you. You have been doing amazing work back east, and we are going to open up our arms wide open and give you a warm welcome here in LA. Come fight week. You're a class act, and it's really a pleasure and an honor to work with you. So now on to the legend. And when you think about legends, I mean, you think about Kobe Bryant, you think about Muhammad Ali, you think about Joe Frazier, Larry Bird. You know, I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. And But you never think about